In this unit, we're going to learn how to read through lenses for point of view. Everyday life is an interaction of points of view. How often have you been sucked into thinking you need something after seeing a convincing advertisement? Check this one out. Ooh. Look at those burgers, milkshake, parfait. That might even be healthy. Look at the fruit in there. Do you know how to distinguish fact from opinion? Creamy. It's probably not even a real strawberry. It's probably made of corn, right? All right. Recognizing point of view is not just a reading skill, it is a life skill. Look in this picture down here. What do you see? A duck or do you see a rabbit? People see things from different perspectives. You should be able to take in what others are saying and be able to respectfully question what they are saying. You also want to be able to trust yourself to make good judgments and make sense of the world and take risks. Here's another example. I tried my best to see things from your point of view, but your point of view is stupid. Well, this is risky, but not necessarily respectful. It is also funny. Before we analyze the point of view or argument in text, we need to review some terms. Claim. A claim is the argument or the point. This is the actual idea that the author is trying to prove and convince you, the reader, to agree with. Evidence. This is the proof. Evidence may be given in the form of facts, data, testimonials, quotes, graphics, pictures, anything that can prove the point of view. Sometimes the evidence might even be the author's opinion, although it might not be as convincing as actual facts or data. Reasons. This is the why. How does the author justify the evidence and point of view? And counterargument. The defense. When you counter something or someone, you go against them. The counterargument is the claim for the other side, maybe the enemy. Sometimes author will provide counterargument, usually because they have evidence to prove it wrong. This is not as easy to find and isn't always used when authors or writers are trying to be persuasive. When you read and analyze point of view, there are two lenses you look through. The first is, what is the point of view of the argument? In this case, you're going to highlight and identify ideas and claims, reasons the claim is right, and counterargument. The other lens is what makes the point of view or argument persuasive. And here you would highlight and identify text evidence, word choice, and structure. In the case of analyzing text for point of view, we don't choose one lens. For word choice, textual evidence, we've chosen one lens, but in this case, we actually have to use both. In order to effectively use both, you need to use rounds of reading. That means reading more than once. When you read the text the first time, you will look through the first lens, what is the point of view, and then you'll read it again, looking specifically at those ideas, claims, reasons, and counterargument with the second lens, identifying text evidence, word choice, and structure. As you read using the first lens, highlight in one color and write your annotations to the left of the text. When you read with point of view lens 1, you're going to look for ideas and claims, reasons the claim is right, and counterargument. Okay, pause the video and read from nearly 40 years ago, which is where you stopped before, to muscle and sinew, and then restart when you are finished. At this point, you should have read this page and part of the next. I want you to see my examples, and please feel free, you should, if you haven't already highlighted and identified what I did as claims and reasons, do that on your text as well. In the first paragraph, the first claim is at the end of that paragraph. that fact that Janet Stark's research was to try to figure out why good athletes are, well, good. This is a claim, so I know it's tiny, but you can see I identified in the left-hand margin that it's a claim. The next claim we have are tests of innate physical hardware, qualities that an athlete is apparently born with, like simple reaction time, had done astonishingly little to help explain expert performance in sports. This is an idea. This is a claim or an argument that the author will then try to prove. Our third claim, unlike in the results of reaction time tests, the difference between top volleyball players and novices was enormous. And next, in yellow, we have a reason. Why? For the elite players, a fraction of a second glance was all they needed to determine whether the ball was present. A second reason is that down there in yellow, one woman's blink of light was another woman's fully formed narrative, which supports the claim that the key difference between expert and novice athletes was in the way they had learned to perceive the game rather than the raw ability to react quickly. Now, looking at these, it might be hard to determine what is a claim and what is a reason. And I don't think that there is that much of a difference. A claim is definitely what it is that the author is trying to prove. It's an idea. It's going to be something that someone else might argue or disagree with. Someone might even have evidence and reasons to suggest that this author or writer is wrong. Your reason, remember, is going to answer that question or justify the actual claim. We have another page. I'm going to read the green part first because that's our final claim in this section. Not only were elite field hockey players able to tell faster than the blink of an eye whether a ball was in the frame, they could accurately reconstruct the playing field just after a fleeting glance. This held true from basketball to soccer. It was as if every elite athlete miraculously had a photographic memory when it came to her sport. Now in blue, you can see I found an example of counterargument. This is not a great example of counterargument, but it was the best that I could find in this section so that you would have a little bit of an idea of what it would look like. So in blue, we see they thought everybody saw the field the same way. She says they were using simple reaction time tests for selections, and they thought it would be a good determinant of who would be the best goalies or strikers. I was astounded that they had no idea that reaction time might not be predictive of anything. So it's really not the best example of counterargument, but here our doctor, who is part of our evidence, is giving the other side of the argument. We see that the Olympic team coaches, all right, who are a credible resource, were using reaction time tests for selection. So that suggests another side of this argument, that maybe Stark's is not 100% correct. Okay, next you're going to go back and read that section, but this time using the second lens. What makes the point of view or argument persuasive? This time you're going to look for textual evidence, word choice, and structure. I don't think that you will have to read it as closely as you did the first time. You're going to pinpoint those areas that were highlighted the first time you read, look specifically for those claims and reasons that you found, and then look for the textual evidence, word choice, or structure that led to that claim or helped to support that claim. In other words, you're not necessarily reading the whole entire thing again. Focus on those areas where you've already identified claims, reasons, or counter-argument. Pause the video again, and now go back to see if you can find anything using the second lens, and then restart when you are finished. On the document, you can now see where I've underlined evidence. Most of this is evidence in purple. So, just like I said, you can see that everything that I underlined is right around where I highlighted. So I looked back at where I highlighted claims, and then I underlined the evidence that was proving that claim. go through, if you haven't already, go through this section of Chapter 1 and underline or highlight in a different color all of the examples or details that you think are evidence. Of course, you can copy what I have there, but see if you can find any others. In case it's not clear, just look at the first example. The claim was tests of innate physical hardware qualities that an athlete is apparently born with, like simple reaction time, had done astonishingly little to help explain expert performance in sports. So the evidence to prove that was that the reaction times of elite athletes always hovered around 1/5 of a second, the same as the reaction times when random people were tested. All right, I don't want to have to read through all of these for you, and I actually didn't find any on the next page. So the ones that you see on these 2 pages are the only ones that I found and underlined. So what's next? You're going to finish reading Chapter 1, read it first through Lens 1, and then again through Lens 2. When you're finished reading, highlighting, and annotating your text, complete the Reading Through the Lenses graphic organizer for point of view. These graphic organizers are on Schoology in the nonfiction literature unit in the materials. Once you finish that, look for the Finding Patterns in Point of View video, and that will take you through the next step.